And we come to the end of another gate. The end of gate 35, the gate of change and progress. The sixth line is called rectification. Oops. I have to go and rectify my hair in a minute. The 35-6 gets into all kinds of experiences, only to recognize eventually that they are not necessarily advantageous. And then they step back and they watch others going through their experiences. This is the process of the sixth line. You know, they go through their triphasic journey and they have their experiences, and then it's their time. They assimilate them and then they watch. And usually, you know, that can be enough for the sixth line here. They stand back and they watch. But there's also the possibility for rectification. And the lifetime learning says the energy to correct. Ra said that he would often find people who have either the 18 or the 58, which is part of the channel of correction between the splenic and the root, that people who had one, either the whole channel, they would invariably also have gate 35 or gate 36. It's like there's some kind of a connection between them. Experience, after all, is a way of discovering correction, not of correcting, but it is out of experience that we discover whether something works or not. You know, and that can be somebody else's experience that can show you what didn't work, and therefore you don't have to take that on. So here in the sixth line of rectification, we have the energy to correct. But it's something that has to be learned. They come to this, you know, after a lifetime of experience. The exaltation says the process of crystallization coupled with ambition that assures timely and effective correction. Progressive change that results from correction. Now, these are really important people to us because they bring the ability to see what is valued experience. They can share with you changes that you can make to bring progress and change to your own experience. And in the detriment, we have destructive tendency that in its personal application may be the necessary severity to ensure correction. But when applied generally, it will meet with resistance and tend to reinforce rather than rectify situations. Correction, which bring change through severity and even destruction, will always meet resistance. So change here can only be seen in relationship to the harmonic of the 36 in the emotional system. This line is showing you the two aspects, you know, the polarity of what happens in the wave, the exalted dealing with the high end of the wave and the detriment dealing with the low end of the wave. Change can be really challenging. It can be very frightening for people. If you have 35, the gate of change, no matter how stable you may seem to be, change for you is always something with the potential to be destabilizing. So it's really important that you know how to handle change, how you know how to be clear about correct change, because change can be very powerful. It's the only thing that endures, after all, the only thing we can rely on. Used to be death and taxes, didn't it? Now it's change. The corrective experience here in the 35-6 can be both easy and or severe. Those with the detriment can bring experiences that will really shatter you. Powerful corrective experiences. You know, this is the correction that brings change through severity and even destruction, and will always meet resistance. And look at the gate that's at the other end of the channel. It's the gate of crisis. You bring those things together and you've got the channel of transitoriness. You know, change can come with a really powerful emotional whack that can shatter. It can also be the other. Of course, we have to have the polarity always. We need that, the duality. So we have the severity and we have the ease. the change. If you look at like the drop of water that comes down, and it seems so gentle, but over time, it makes a hole in the hardest stone. 6 lines often don't get to the point of doing anything really, unless somehow that experience is necessary and it's going to have value for them. They don't want to bother if there isn't a reason for them to bother, because they've done that now. These are our role models. These are the ones they don't have to keep getting involved in everything, because they did that in their 3rd line phase. So tomorrow we move into a new gate. We're into gate 45 tomorrow, and it's the tribal gate that says I have or I don't have. And it's the only possessive voice, that is able to manifest anything for the tribe, because it's another manifester channel. The 35-6, where we are now, when it gets to the end of its process, it wants to know, what's in it for me? I've been through all these experiences. Why? What's been the point? I don't want to have another experience unless I'm going to get something other than the experience itself. Now, gate 45 is one of the great gates of education. So maybe this is the point of all those experiences, so they can be fed through into this. And this is where the education comes, because education is based on experience. It's rather that than based on the sort of unsubstantiated facts. The grounding in gate 5 is in the 6th line of yielding. This is surrendering to the process. We all have to surrender to our design at some point. Give up thinking that we have any kind of control over anything. Yield to the value of correction or rectification. Surrender to the opportunity to change our experience, or maybe our perception of the experience. The moon is still in 35 and just about to move into 45, where the sun is going tomorrow. It moves at 14:51, and the moon then is bringing its focus into the gate of the gatherer. And this is the throat gate of the tribal leader. This is the only voice of the tribe, as I said, that says I have or I don't have, and is focused on gathering resources and guiding others to manifest what is needed for survival and for prosperity without sacrificing their own interests. So a good ruler will see that education is the foundation for communal success. And this is really where we find the saying, don't buy your people fish, teach them to make a rod and show them how to catch their own supper. And then we have gate 12 at 20:1 tomorrow morning. This is the gate of standstill, of caution. This is the individual with an ability to be very articulate in expressing unique perceptions when they're in the mood. Mood is so important for this gate. Well, it's for this stream, really. When you start in the 39 of provocation and you have the channel of moodiness, you can see that this is a very important stream, a stream of emoting. If you're not in the mood, don't do it. That would be the message here, really. Pay attention to those pulses of energy that are on, that are off. Pay attention to your authority, because it's there to look after your energy after all. And it can be really hard to say no, to go against what other people expect of us, or even what we expect of ourselves. The conditioning can be so strong, and this is a gate that really wants to be understood. And it also has a natural tendency to be cautious about how it expresses its views. It has still that flavor coming down from the 23-43, which is a genius or freak. There's always the chance the individual is going to be thrown out for being just too different, too weird. And so some caution, some natural caution about how to express oneself, waiting for the mood to be right, waiting for the timing to be correct, would just make sense. What's the point of using your energy to share something out of the correct mood or timing? Because you won't be heard, you won't be appreciated. And a little caution then can make all the difference between having your pearls land before swine or before a willing and appreciative audience. It's a busy day for the other planets today. There are 3 changes, 3 transits. We have Venus going into 45 at 1725, and we already looked at this with the moon transit. And here you could maybe explore values around providing resources for your tribe. You know, do you have any? It's a good place to start. I mean, do you have any values rather than do you have any resources? Values about this. I mean, it's not necessarily something we might have put any attention on in the past, and that's not a judgment, it's an exploration, that's all. Do you resonate to the importance of education for those around you? Or perhaps you resonate to having an elevated view of being able to see the importance of the big picture, not being involved in the nitty-gritty of tribal activity. Uranus is bringing us the energy of following our own path, expressing ourselves in unique and different ways, bringing in something new, transcending our limitations to that possibility for newness to emerge. And Uranus is moving into the gate of contribution, gate 8 at 2211. And this feels like a kind of good gate for Uranus in that sense, a good gate for it to hang out in, because where better do we express our uniqueness than through the gate of contribution? You know, it's pretty much all this gate ever wants to do. And this is a 5-month transit, so you could really explore some of the energies and the qualities here and see how it shows up for you, both through this transit and what it's like in your own chart. And finally, Mercury is moving into gate 16 at 0505, the gate of skills, the throat gate. We know quite a bit about this, and we were there just a few days ago. But it's a good place for Mercury, you know, although it's also concerned with the mind and mental functions, not just communication. Gate 16 possessing that art of enriching life through the harmonic channeling of energy. A gate that's in logic circuitry with that format, power of focus and concentration. So perhaps a little bit of extra Mercury energy can help here. Your focus and concentration on mental functions, after all, perhaps there can be some extra energy around, yeah, having some dedication to making consistent efforts into mastering a specific skill, to bring it to its fullness, to its flowering. So that's the end of gate 35. So tomorrow we move into a new gate, and I hope you will join me. Thank you very much for watching, listening to this one, and as always, go gently.